very good day to madam and my fellow friends. Today my topic for the persuasive speech will be fame is bad for children. So when we were kids, we used to watch shows like Hannah Montana, watch movies like Herbie, Freaky Friday and all. So we used to, I used to think that Miley Cyrus, the lead star of Hannah Montana, the lead star of the Freaky Friday, Lindsay Lohan, the Dylan and Cole Sprouse twins, they all had it easy. They all had fame, they had money. I think that they had a very good childhood. I used to think about it. So I'm pretty sure that it wasn't just me who thought that the fame they had as kid was very good for them. So as I grew up, I found out that fame as a children, it is not as good as I thought it would be. So let me persuade you why fame is bad for children. Well, firstly, fame is bad for children because as a child, when you are exposed to fame, you will be experiencing unbearable pressure. As even an adult celebrity, celebrities are consistently expected to act in a certain way. They are expected to do something. They are expected to behave in a certain way. So they have to be like elegant, or they have to be posh. And why is that so important? Well, it is very important for them to stay relevant to us because we are who define them. So when a child is told how to be perfect and elegant, told how to be celebrity-like, as I said before, they will feel that it is just too much for them, because children, they are not wired to be perfect and elegant. They are wired to make mistakes in order to grow, in order to learn. They just want to have fun. So when you tell them you shouldn't do this, like even as a fan, when you expect them to do everything a famous person would do, it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the child, and it is never good for them, because even adults, they crack under pressure. So think of a child, an immature, irresponsible child. He hasn't even learned to do his dishes yet. He or she hasn't even learned to do their dishes yet. And yet you expect them to behave in a certain way, to do certain things, just because they are famous. So I'm not just talking this spontaneously. There have been many evidence in the past that child actors have cracked under pressure. So I'm pretty sure that you all would have heard of Daniel Radcliffe. You know Harry Potter, that guy. So you might think that he had always looked good in public. His appearance has never been bad. But that was not the case. So in an article reported on the internet, so what he told to the media to that particular reporter was that he was expected to always be in a good mood because he was a famous person, he was a celebrity, he was the Harry Potter. But as we all know, he is a human too. So what happened to him was he couldn't cope with all that expectation. So what he did, he resorted to drinking excessively. He also told that you couldn't see him clearly drunk on his movies, Harry Potter movies, but you can clearly see that his eyes were dead inside, and in some scenes, not all. So, and another thing, another actor affected by this pressure, it was not the actor himself, just the actor himself. It was his parents also who were affected by the pressure. You know the guy from Home Alone, that shocked kid Macaulay Culkin, his name is. Apparently, what happened was after his fame, by the age of 10, he had achieved more than what his father had achieved before. So, what his parents wanted for him was to do good or I'll hit you. That's how they raised him. It didn't go well for him. Let me tell you. You can Google his name and you might find that he was looking very horrible for the past few years, and he's made very good recovery since. Next, moving on to my next point on why fame is bad for children. Fame is very, very unsafe, especially for children. So we all might have this fantasy that when we are famous, we'll be respected everywhere. We do not have to introduce ourselves. That our reputation precedes our appearance. So we also think that when you are famous, people always smile at you. People always look up to you. People want to take photos with you. People do not want to disappoint you, and you won't be rejected. That's the fantasy that we have. But what we are seeing from here is that we think that fame brings kindness from others to us. It is true in some cases, but not always, because not everyone out there is willing to be kind for so long, especially to famous people. Someone being famous will surely upset someone, and the resentment cannot be kept under control for a very long time. So let me give you an example. A 10-year-old kid, he's been earning more than a 50-year-old hard worker who's been working for, let's say, 30 years. So of course there are people who will be like, good for him. But then there'll also be people who will be like, that's not fair, he's just 10, how can he do that? So what they'll do is that in our modern world, they'll take it out on social media. Now we all know how toxic online community can be. Even during the MCO period in Malaysia, we must have heard the news of a girl committing suicide because of this toxic online community. So I'm not saying that it will happen, but something like that might occur for a famous child. So it is really unsafe for a child to be famous. They will also be a victim of depression, anxiety, or low self-esteem because they are vulnerable to open judgment by unlimited people out there. And then, as we all know, fame also takes out this important part away from our lives: privacy. So when a person becomes famous, his followers, they really want to know, his or her followers, they would really want to know what he's doing, what he's buying, what he's eating, and where he's staying. To us, this might sound like, okay, that's basic information. What harm is that going to do to a famous child? Well, think again. Think about the kidnappers, the pedophiles out there. The 2020 is so messed up, as you guys all know. So, I mean, not just 2020, there are people who have been messed up for so long that this kind of information would be a golden opportunity for those criminals to act upon, which will scar the child for life and also jeopardize his safety. Moving to my last point. Yeah, it's going to end now. So, fame is also bad for children because when a child gets famous, his life will be deprived of quality time. So, why am I saying this? You might wonder. Well, when a child becomes famous, not just a child, when anyone becomes famous, in order to stay relevant, they have to work hard. When a child becomes famous, the child has to work harder because there's always another option out there. They can simply cast another child in a nick of time. So what will happen is that if a child has a manager who's not his or her own family, the manager might just accept extra jobs, extra advertisements, just to make sure that the kid stays in the market. So what will happen then is that the kid will not have time to spend with his family, his or her family. So he will not be, a very connected child. He might grow up to be a distant person, and this might affect him psychologically. Next, he won't even. The child will also lack social life because they wouldn't have time to go out and have fun, just hang around with their friends, to talk and chat, make jokes with their friends. They'll be constantly rushing to do project A, project B, project C, like that. So it would be very hard for the child to, have a social life, and that will also affect the way they grow up. They might grow up to be an introvert. On screen, they might be as charismatic, as loud as a person can be, but in reality, they might grow up to be a very silent, reserved, introvert child. This will also make them miss out on many important things in life. So that's it for my points. So I'm going to conclude my speech now. As attractive a fame may sound to a child, just like everything, just like Newton said, every action has an equal and opposite reactions. The more the benefit fame can give you, it can give the equal amount of the negative effects to you. As a child, it may affect you more. So the best we as adults can do is that educate and inform them about all the ups and downs, so that they will be educated on the negative effects of fame on children, like unbearable pressure, lack of security, and lack of quality time. Thank you, and I hope that I have persuaded you all that fame is bad for children.